Is it the end of the Svartsengi volcanic system, the upheaval, which started in the 2023, November 10? We had the earthquakes resulting from the North American plate and Eurasian plate being in that system on the Reykjanes Peninsula, and the extension causing earthquakes. The earthquakes which actually created the Atlantic Ocean in the long run had the earthquakes and led to evacuation of the town of the Grindavik, a fishing town, small town, with a population of around 3,000 to 4,000 people. Different statistics exist about that. And the creation of the chasms and the cracks in the town. Unfortunately, one person, during the repairs of the roads, fell into one of these cracks with the machinery and lost his life. The town is on this practically a rift valley, and that's the reason the harbor exists. Since then, we have several eruptions, and the pattern of the eruptions shows that the vigor and the level of the activity is reduced by each eruption. Even the volume of the magma and the duration of it is reduced. So what we are seeing is that a diminishing level of activity in the Svartsengi volcanic system from the December to January and February and now March 2024. From last year to this year, we are seeing it now. It seems that the last situation we had didn't actually materialize in the early March into an eruption. We didn't see the lava at the surface. There was not enough pressure, probably, and there was not enough the movement of the magma being, able to actually reach the surface through the cracks or melting of the pre-existing cracks, reaching the surface. The clusters of the earthquakes you can see in these charts are reduced as the time goes by from the December 2023 to the March 2024. It seems the system is reaching equilibrium. It may not be able to erupt, even if it erupts in the coming days, near the new moon probably. We may see the end of this upheaval, at least for now. Last time we had upheaval in this area was around 800 years ago when the Vikings were arriving and living in that area. It was during the medieval times. We didn't have a living memory of that. The cracks are now getting close probably in that system. The magma cannot flow. It may eventually solidify under the ground, forming what we call as a laccolith, until later when it erupts again. This is a possibility I'm talking about. It's not certain in the science. We cannot be always certain. What we are seeing is a transfer of the movement created in the extension of the Svartsengi volcanic system to the other systems to the east of it. For example, Fagradalsfjall and Kristofik and all the others up to the Hengel, which then transfers to the south and the west volcanic zone of the Iceland. Each one of these may erupt on its own time, not necessarily at the same time. So 800 years was the time of the, calm in the Svartsengi area. We may have another, calm period before another eruption happens somewhere else along this rift. The first one, we may had it in the Svartsengi. Before that, we had also a new system actually developing the Fagradalsfjall. But that is not in the pattern that I'm talking. I've covered all of this, trying to show in this cartoon, which is animated, to show you how it is going. The uplift of the mantle due to the thinning of the lithosphere leads to the rising of the mantle, partial melting of the mantle material, forming magma, and then when the magma is differentiated enough, forming basalt, it can rise to the surface and erupt as a volcano. Usually here we have fissure eruptions, not a stratovolcano. This is a different setting. Migration of the magma also may happen. The Svartsengi volcanic system and impact on the Grindavik was very well managed by the Icelandic authorities and the people, compared to, for example, something recently in Turkey and Syria, which we had earthquakes, large earthquakes in the Richter scale, causing death of probably thousands of people. Destruction was vast. And it didn't make as much as into the news media. And as long as it's finished, the world also forget about it. Although we know that, for example, in Syria, it will continue even to be impacted. Even the people after earthquakes were attacked by a neighboring country who bombed there on a daily basis with missiles and rockets, or sometimes weekly basis. So in that sense, Iceland was very well managed with this, and the media also didn't lose interest in that, and the coverage continued. For example, the earthquakes in 2004 in the Bam area of Iran was also at the level of the Turkish earthquakes, and it caused a lot of death and destruction. And immediately after that, or just a few weeks or months after that probably, new sanctions were put on the country of Iran by the world powers, and the country continued to suffer. Even they were not able to recover from that. In that sense, I think Iceland was really well managed. The situation, the coverage in the media, the control, the way that they directed the media to the situation in the YouTube, in the foreign media, even by the Icelandic authorities, and their own efforts to provide the infrastructure, internet connection, hot water system, electricity, all provided at a high standard by the authorities and by the system that was already in place in the infrastructure and everything. And people are very receptive also to the health and safety concerns.